Okay, today I wanted to talk about Gaslight by Patrick Hamilton, which is a play. I didn't realize it's actually a play, but that's where the term gaslight comes from. This originates with this play. And so I kind of wanted to do a reading of it because it has some interesting stuff with the plot and dialogue and everything in that aspect. And I kind of just wanted to show you guys what it is because there's a few aspects with the play that's kind of unique to other mediums where with the play, the dialogue and the scene action, but mostly the dialogue is what is going to carry the whole story. So I really enjoy good playwrights because they always have the dialogue down perfect. You know, Christopher Nolan, I absolutely love him, but his dialogue has been his weakest point. So he really needs to just team up with a playwright or something like that who can get that. So for Gaslight, what we have is the story starts in a 19th century Victorian house, basically, and it kind of goes through and describes the home. There's a staircase here, a bureau here, and then of course the two gas lamps that are kind of over the fireplace from here, and it kind of describes the whole scene. It's kind of a very dreary, dark and dreary place. And then let's see, we have the description of our characters. Let me see where it starts. Yeah, Mr. Manningham. So, the curtain rises upon a rather terrifying darkness in the late afternoon, the 0 hour, as it were, before the feeble dawn of gaslight and tea. In front of the fire in an armchair, Mr. Manningham is stretched out and sleeping heavily, a newspaper beside him. He is tall, good-looking, about 45. He's heavily mustached and whiskered. He has a fine figure, and perhaps a little too well dressed. His manner is suave and authoritative, with a touch of mystery and bitterness. Mrs. Manningham is sitting sewing on the settee, a sewing box beside her. She's about 34. She has been good-looking, almost a beauty, but now has a haggard, wan, frightened air with rings under her eyes, which tell of sleepless nights and worse. Pause. So from the beginning, we have this very interesting dynamic. We have an age gap. We have this idea of he is very well put together. She was well put together, but she's slowly falling apart. This is kind of the intro scene. So from the street below, in the distance can be heard the intermittent jingling of a muffin man ringing his bell. Mrs. Manningham listens to the sound for a few moments, furtively, indecisively, almost as though she is frightened even of this. She rustles quickly over to the window and looks down into the street, then to the bell cord by the door, which she pulls, then back to her sewing, which she gathers up and puts into the box, at the same time taking a purse from the box. There's a knock at the door, and Elizabeth, the cook and housekeeper, enters. She is a stout, amiable, subservient woman of about 50. Mrs. Manningham signals that her husband is asleep, and goes over and whispers to Elizabeth at the door, giving her some money from the purse. Elizabeth exits. Mr. Manningham's eyes open, but his position does not change a fraction of an inch. Mr. Manningham. What are you doing, Bella? Nothing, dear. She moves back to the window to look out. There is a pause. She goes to her sewing box, replaces the purse in it, and puts the box away, then moves to the window again. Mr. Manningham. What are you doing, Bella? Come here. She hesitates, then moves to her husband. Only for tea, my dear. Muffins. For tea. Muffins, eh? Yes, dear. He comes so seldom, I thought I might surprise you. Why are you so apprehensive, Bella? I was not about to reproach you. Which, this is such a good line. This is absolutely such a good line, because this is itself a reproach. This is a reproach. So if you guys aren't familiar with it, the premise with the play is that a husband is trying to drive his wife insane. And then ultimately, ... You'll see it if you fill in the blanks. So when you're thinking of this and trying to write some story like this, you have to think the dialogue is what's going to carry it. So what we have to do is we're going to use the dialogue to set the scene, set the characters, and create the tension. We're doing all of this to communicate, and we're about 3 pages in, and we already have a pretty good idea. There's some unsettling creepiness about him, because again, he's not saying like, oh, you're a horrible, he's not insulting her, he's not beating her. It's much more sneaky, much more maliciously sneaky in this aspect. So just listen to this and keep this in mind as we're going forward. So why are you so apprehensive, Bella? I was not going to reproach you. No, dear, I knew you weren't. The fire's in ashes. Ring the bell, will you, Bella, dear? Yes. She moves towards the bell, but stops. Is it merely to put coal on, my dear? I can do that. Now then, Bella. We've had this out before. Be so good as to ring the bell. But dear, Lizzie's out on the street. Let me do it. I can do it so easily. No. Where's the girl? Let the girl come up. If Lizzie's out, but my dear, go and ring the bell, please, Bella. There's a good child. Mrs. Manningham gives in and rings the bell. And so you see this aspect where they're fighting, they're arguing over this nonsense small things. It's this idea, and you'll see this becomes kind of a regular theme. It's this idea of control. It's every single conversation and encounter is an opportunity to win. And just keep that in mind, where there's no nonsense, there's no meaningless conversations. Everything is going to be turned and twisted into a, you're doing the wrong thing. Why are you doing the wrong thing? What do you suppose servants are for, Bella? Mrs. Manningham does not answer. There's a pause. Go on, answer me. What do you suppose servants are for? To serve, I suppose, Jack. Precisely. Then why? But I think we should consider them a little. That's all. Consider them? There's your extraordinary confusion of the mind again. You speak as though they work for no consideration. I happen to consider Elizabeth to the tune of £16 per annum, and the girl 10, £26 a year all told. And if that is not consideration of the most acute and lively kind, I should like to know what is. Yes, Jack, I expect you're right. I have no doubt of it, my dear. It's sheer weak-mindedness to think otherwise. What's the weather doing? Is it still yellow? Yes, it seems to be denser than ever. Shall you be going out in this, Jack dear? I expect so, unless it gets very much worse after tea. There's a knock at the door. Mrs. Manningham hesitates. There's another knock. Come in. Come in. Nancy, the maid, enters. She's a self-conscientious, pretty cheeky girl of 19. Mrs. Mannington hesitates to tell Nancy why she rang the bell. Nancy looks at the Manninghams. Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought the bell rang. Yes, we rang the bell. Nancy, go on, my dear. Tell her why we rang the bell. Oh, yes, we want some coal on the fire, Nancy, please. Nancy looks impudently at Mrs. Manningham, and then with a little smile and toss of the head, goes over and puts coal on the fire. And you might as well light the gas, Nancy. This darkness in the afternoon is getting beyond endurance. Yes, sir. She gets the matches with another barely discernible little smile and lights the two incandescent mantles during the following. Mr. Manningham rises, stretching himself, and stands, warming his legs in front of the fire. He watches Nancy as she lights the second mantle. You're looking very impudent and pretty this afternoon, Nancy. Do you know that? I don't know that at all, sir, I'm sure. What is it? Another broken heart added to your list? I wasn't aware of breaking any hearts, sir. I'm sure that's not true. And that complexion of yours, that's not true either. I wonder what mysterious lotions you've been employing to enhance your natural beauties. I am quite natural, sir, I promise you. During the following, Nancy moves to the window, lowers the blind, and draws the curtain, then lights the lamp. Then lights the lamp left. And so you can see this is really and fairly insidious, but it's fairly small. It's all small. So what he does is Mr. Manningham, Jack Manningham, they have this argument where he kind of browbeats her into summoning the servants to light the coal, and then she doesn't want to, and then once it is, he goes, all right, you need to explain to her why you called her, and she didn't want to call her to begin with, but basically it's this buy-in. It's, here's an idea that I think you should do, and she goes, no, and she says yes, and he overrules her, and then he goes, all right, now you must explain this decision that we made, actually you made, because you didn't make it, you did ring the bell, didn't you, to the servant girl. And then he's flirting with the servant girl in front of her. And the wife is basically just sitting here, nothing. And it's just, this is, again, we're thinking of this is the tension that we're building towards. This is nothing insidious has happened. The other thing that's funny is, if you think this is probably 5-6 minutes, we're on page 6, so probably 5 minutes thereabouts into the play. What's happened so far? Basically nothing. She went out to go get the servant, to go get muffins, and they're putting coal on the fire. That's what's happened. But again, this is the dialogue. The dialogue, what it's doing is because there's this underlying tension that's kind of eating away, beginning to seep into everything from there. So, but you do it adroitly. I grant you that. What are your secrets? Won't you tell us the name of your chemist? Perhaps you could pass it on to Mrs. Manningham and help banish her pallor. She was most grateful, I have no doubt. I'd be most happy, I'm sure, sir. Or are women too jealous of their discoveries to pass them on to a rival? Again, it's really bitter because he's like saying, oh, she's like falling apart. And we'll come to realize, of course, like, guess who is the problem? Guess whose fault it is that she's falling apart? She calls it, he says, rival. He's introducing this idea that, oh, this 19-year-old maid is a rival to the woman, the missus of the household. Let's see. I don't know, sir. Will that all be you're wanting, sir? That's all I want, Nancy. Except my tea. I'll be coming directly, sir. And it's like, you should have called her to get your tea, but he didn't. He made his wife call her to get the coal, and then, by the way, I want tea. And it's kind of this, it's just, yeah, it's really masterfully well done. Really good dialogue. Because again, think of this, you're sitting in the audience, and I'm breaking up the tension a lot because every time I'm talking, but think of this as the audience, there is no interruptions. There's this tension. It's like slow building. You have this needling sense in your mind of what's going to happen. So I would recommend reading through it without interruptions unlike I'm doing. But there you go. Except my tea will be coming directly, sir. Oh, Jack, how can you treat me like that? But my dear, you're the mistress of the house. It was your business to put the coal on. It isn't that. And it's funny because she's like, oh, how can you do this to me? And he goes, I don't understand what you're talking about. The coal, this is your job. And she's like, of course you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. It's humiliating me like that. As though I'd do anything to my face and ask for her assistance if I did. But you seem to look upon the servants as our natural equals. So I treated her as one. He picks up his paper and sits down on the settee. Besides, I was only trifling with her. And this is really good. This is the key aspect for writing dialogue like this in any sort of this abusive relationship, where it's you play all sides to attack. There is no principal's side. So he's saying you shouldn't treat them as equals. Get them to come get coal. And she goes, okay, this is the rule. This is the rule of this is how we're supposed to do it. And then now he switched it going, oh, well, since you like to treat them as equals, we'll treat them like equals. And it's like, it's this constant unsettling where every time there's a rule set, he's jumping from another angle and it's changing everything. So I treated her as that. I was only trifling with her. It's strange that you can't see how you hurt me. That girl laughs at me enough already. Laughs at you? What an idea. What makes you think she laughs at you? Oh, I know she does in secret, in fact. She does so openly. More openly every day. But my dear, if she does that, doesn't the fault lie with you? You mean that I am a laughable person? I don't mean anything, my dear. It's you who read meanings into everything. Bella, dear, I wish you weren't such a perfect little silly. Come here and stop it. I've just thought of something rather nice. Something nice? What have you thought of, Jack? I shan't tell you unless you come over here. Going over and sitting on the little stool beside him. What is it, Jack? What have you thought of? I read that Mr. McNaughton, the celebrated actor, is in London for another season. Yes, I read that. What of it, Jack? What of it? What do you suppose? Oh, Jack, dear, do you mean it? Would you take me to see McNaughton? You wouldn't take me to see McNaughton, would you? I not only would take you to see McNaughton, my dear, I am going to take you to see McNaughton. That is, if you want to go. Oh, Jack, what heaven? What heaven? When would you like to go? He refers to the newspaper. You only have 3 weeks, according to his advertisement. Oh, what perfect heaven. Let me see. Showing her the advertisement. There. You see? You can see him in comedy or tragedy, according to your choice. What would you prefer, Bella? The comedy or the tragedy? Oh, it's so hard to say. Either would be equally wonderful. Which would you choose if you were me? Well, it depends, doesn't it? Upon whether you want to laugh or whether you want to cry. Oh, I want to laugh, but then I should like to cry too. In fact, I should like to do both, Jack. Oh, Jack. What made you decide to take me? And this is interesting because we're trying to figure out at this point, where is this going? There's something insidious that's going to happen because basically, why would he give her a choice in this aspect? And we're kind of waiting to see because now he's being nice. This is the interesting thing. You see, before he was kind of like flinging it into her face and he quickly changes the subject. Like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? And he knows, obviously there's some history and they know that she would love this aspect for it. So, I would just like to laugh. Okay, yeah. What made you decide to take me? Well, my dear, you've been very good lately. And I thought it would be well to take you out yourself. Oh, Jack, dear, you've been so much kinder lately. Is it possible you're beginning to see my point of view? I don't know that I've ever differed from it, did I, Bella? Oh, Jack, dear, it's true. All I need is to be taken out of myself. Some little changes, to have some attention from you. Oh, Jack, I'd be better. I could really try to be better. You know, in what way? If only I could get out of myself a little more. How do you mean, my dear? Exactly. Better. You know in what way, dear? About all that's happened lately. We said we wouldn't speak about it. Oh, no. Don't. Let's speak about it. No, dear, I don't want to. But what I say is so important. I have been better, even in the last week. Haven't you noticed? And why is it? It's because you have stayed in and been kind to me. The other night when you stayed in and played cards with me, it was like the old days, and I went to bed feeling a normal, happy, healthy human being. And then the day after, when you read your book to me, and Jack, we sat by the fire, I felt all my love for you coming back then, Jack, and I slept that night like a child. All those ghastly dreads and terrible fears seemed to have vanished. And all just because you had given me your time and taken me from the brooding on myself in this house all day and night. I wonder if it is that, or it's merely that your medicine is beginning to benefit you. And this is funny, where it's I guess my note here is correct. Redirect. So basically she's saying that, oh, Jack, it's because of something you did that I'm getting better. And he's like, no. It's not something I did. You just stopped being silly. That's all. You know, it's this constant redirection of blame of idea. Because you're thinking of this in the greater scheme of the plot, which we'll see where it goes, is there's this idea of control, and it's control. And this control goes down to every single tiny little bitty conversation. There is no passive conversation. There is no, oh, I have this opinion. He's constantly jabbing and fighting and changing stuff and darting, from all these different things from there. No, Jack, it's not my medicine. I've taken my medicine religiously. Haven't I taken it religiously? Much as I detest it. It's more than medicine that I want. It's the medicine of a sweet, sane mind, of being interested in something. Don't you see what I mean? Well, we are talking about gloomy subjects, aren't we? Yes, I don't want to be gloomy, dear. That's the last thing I want to be. I only want you to understand. Say you understand. Well, dear, don't I seem to? Haven't I said I'm taking you to the theater? This idea of doing everything I can. What do you expect from me, wife? And she just explained to him what she wants. She wants him to spend time with her, to pay attention to her. And he's like, I don't know what you want. You're being ridiculous. Yes, dear, you have. And you've made me so happy. So happy, dear. Well, then, which is it to be? The comedy or the tragedy? You must make up your mind. With exulting solemnity. Oh, Jack, which shall it be? Which shall it be? She rises and shows her pleasure with delighted gestures. It matters so little. Do you understand that, my husband? I'm going to the play. She kisses him. There's a knock at the door. Come in. Nancy enters, carrying a tray with tea things on it, including salt for the muffins. There's a pause as she brings the tray to the fireside right. No, Nancy, I think we'll have it on the table today. Oh, just as you wish, madame, with impudence. There's a pause as Nancy puts the tray in the center of the table and arranges the cups and moves the books, etc., to one side. From her place at the mantelpiece, Mrs. Manningham. Tell me, Nancy, if you were being taken to the play and had to choose between comedy and tragedy, which would you choose? Me, madam? Oh, I'd go for the comedy all the time. Would you? Why would you choose the comedy, Nancy? I like to laugh, madame, I suppose. Do you? Well, I dare say you're right. I must bear in mind Mr. Manningham's taking me next week, you see. Oh, yes. I hope you enjoy it. I'll bring the muffins. Bring out the muffins directly. Nancy exit. Mrs. Manningham puts her tongue out at Nancy. Mr. Manningham sees this. My dear, what are you doing? The little beast. Let her put that in her pipe and smoke it. But what has she done? You don't know her. She tries to torment and score me off all day long. You don't see these things. A man wouldn't. She thinks me a poor thing, and now she can suffer with the news that you're taking me to the theater. I think you imagine things, my dear. Oh, no, I don't. We've been too familiar with her. She arranges the chairs by the table in an emotionally happy state. Come along, my dear. You sit to one side and I the other, like two children in the nursery, rising and standing with his back to the fire. You seem wonderfully pleased with yourself, Bella. I must take you to the theater more often if this is the result. Oh, Jack, I wish you could. I really don't know why we shouldn't. I used to like nothing so much when I was a boy. In fact, you may hardly believe it, but I even had an ambition to be an actor myself at one time. I can well believe it, my dear. Come along to your tea. You know, Bella, that must be a very superb sensation, to take part and lose yourself entirely in the character of someone else. I flatter myself I could have made an actor. Why, of course, my dear. You were cut out for it. Anyone can see it. No. Do you think so? Seriously. I've always had a faint tinge of regret. Of course, one should have required training. One would have required training. But I believe I should have made out, and might have reached the top of the tree for all I know. Nancy enters with a dish of muffins. During the following recitation at the points marked with the asterisks, she puts the muffins on the table and exits. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis noble or in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows, muffin, of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing in them. See how fine your voice is? Oh, you've made a great mistake. I wonder. Then if you had been a famous actor, I should have had a free seat to come and watch you every night of my life, and then would have called for you at the stage door afterwards. Wouldn't that have been paradise? A paradise of which you would soon retire, my dear. I have no doubt that after a few nights you would be staying at home again, just as you do now. Again, it's this constant coming back to, why are you staying at home? She's saying she stays at home because he doesn't take her out. He's saying she stays at home because she wants to. This is what she wants. This is her fault. All of this is coming back to whose fault it is? Well, it couldn't be his. So, ... It must be hers. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I should have to keep after you. Should have to keep my eye on you for all the hussies that would be after you. There would be hussies after me, would there? That is an added inducement, then. Oh, yes, I know, you wretch. But you wouldn't escape me. She lifts the cover of the muffin dish and prepares muffins during the following. They look delicious. Aren't you glad I thought of them? Here's some salt. You want heaps of it. Oh, Jack, dear, you must forgive me chattering on like this, but I'm feeling so happy. I can see that, my dear. I'm being taken to the play, you see. Here you are. I used to adore these as a child. Didn't you? I wonder how long it has been since we had them. Haven't we had them since... We haven't had them since we've been married, anyway. Or have we? Have we? Mr. Manning, suddenly rising, looking at the wall opposite in a calm yet menacing voice. I don't know, I'm sure. I don't know, Bella. What is it? What's the matter? What is it now? Walking over to the fireplace and speaking with his back to her. I have no desire to upset you, Bella, but I have just observed something very much amiss. Will you please rectify this at once while I'm not looking, and will you assume it has not happened? And again, this is an interesting part because we're now beginning to move from just the beat down of the words, where he's just constantly belittling her, constantly bullying her and all this constantly. We're beginning to see a shift, and we'll see this coming in a little bit, is assume it has not happened. Now we're getting into the phrase of now we're beating her down. Now it's bending reality. We're getting to see the bending of reality, where basically we're trying to agree that something is, which is not, which we'll see how that plays out. While I'm not looking, and while we will assume that it has not happened. Amiss? What's amiss? For God's sake, don't turn your back on me. What has happened? You know perfectly well what has happened. And Bella? You know perfectly well what has happened, Bella. And if you will rectify it at once, I will say no more about it. I don't know. You have left your tea. Tell me what it is. Tell me. Are you trying to make a fool of me, Bella? What I refer to is on the wall behind you. If you will put it back, I will forget the matter. The wall behind me? What? Oh, yes. The picture's been taken down. Yes, the pictures. Who has taken it down? Why has it been taken down? Yes, Bella. Why has it been taken down? Why indeed? You alone can answer this, Bella. Why was it taken down before? Will you please take it from wherever you have hidden it and put it back on the wall again? But I haven't hidden it, Jack. I didn't do it. Oh, for God's sake, look at me. I didn't do it. I don't know where it is. Someone else must have done it. Someone else? Are you suggesting that I should play such a fantastic and wicked trick? Oh, no. Again, remember this. So this is are you suggesting that I should play a fantastic wicked trick? What a surprise. It's the jackass guy who's going to be doing that. The bully, this vicious guy, is going to be the one who do it. But if you think about it in context of the conversation, what has he done before? He's promised to take her to the play. He's a great guy now. We've established this. He's a great husband because he's doing the bare minimum for his wife. He's a great husband now. And so now when he's the one who suggests, oh, are you going to say that I do it? She now on the back of this is going to be like, okay, of course not, which then leads, Who else? Who else is in this scene other than him? It's her. So it's pointing all to her. Someone else? Are you suggesting that I should play such a fantastic and wicked trick? Oh, no, dear. But someone else. She moves beside him. Before God, I didn't do it. Someone else, dear. Someone else. Someone else? Eh? Someone else? Will you let go of me? You repel me, you half-witted thing. He walks over to the bell cord. We'll see about someone else. Oh, Jack, don't ring the bell. Don't ring it. Don't call the servants to witness my shame. It's not my shame, for I haven't done it. But don't call the servants. Tell them not to come. Mr. Manningham rings the bell, moving to him and touching him. Let's talk of this between ourselves. Please don't call that girl. Please, shaking her off violently. Will you let go of me? Leave go of me and sit down. He moves to the fireplace. Someone else, eh? Well, we shall see. Mrs. Manningham sits in the armchair and sobs. You had better pull yourself together, hadn't you? There's a knock at the door. Come in. Elizabeth enters. Ah, Elizabeth. Do you notice anything amiss in this room? Look carefully around the walls, and if you see or notice anything amiss, well, Elizabeth, what do you notice? Nothing, sir, except the picture's been taken down. Exactly. The picture's been taken down. You noticed it at once. Now, was that picture in its place when you dusted in this room this morning? Yes, sir, it was. I don't understand, sir. Neither do I, Elizabeth. Neither do I. And now, before you go, just one question. Was it you who removed that picture, Elizabeth? No, sir. Of course I ain't, sir. You did not. Have you ever at any time removed that picture from its proper place? No, sir, never. Never, sir. Why should I, sir? Indeed, why should you? And now, will you kiss that Bible which lies on the desk there as a token of your truthfulness? Elizabeth hesitates. There is a pause. Then she kisses the Bible. Very well, you may go. And please send Nancy in here at once. Yes, sir. Elizabeth exits, looking at both Manninghams as she goes. Mrs. Manningham, moving to Mr. Manningham. Jack, spare me that girl. Don't call her in. I'll say anything. I'll say that I did it. I did it, Jack. I did it. Don't have that girl in. Don't. Will you have the goodness to contain yourself? Sits down. There's a knock at the door. Come in. Nancy enters. Yes, sir. Did you want me? Yes, I do want you, Nancy. Nancy. Ugh, this guy's so slimy. If you will look at the wall on your left, you will see that the picture is gone. My word, so it has. What a rum go. I did not ask for any comment on your part, Nancy. Kindly be less insolent and answer what I ask you. Did you take that picture down, or did you not? Me? Of course I didn't. Why should I want to move it for, sir? Very good. Now will you kiss the Bible lying there as a solemn oath that you did not, and you may go. Willingly, sir. She does so, again with a soft smile. If I'd done it, that is all, Nancy, you may go. Nancy exits, picking up the Bible to put back in its place. There. I think we may have now be said to have demonstrated conclusively. Give me that Bible. Give it to me. Let me kiss it too. She snatches it from him. She kisses it. There. Do you see? She kisses it. There. Do you see that I kiss it? For God's sake, be careful what you do. Do you desire to commit sacrilege above all? It is no sacrilege, Jack. Someone else has committed sacrilege. Now see, before I swear, before God Almighty, that I've never touched that picture. She kisses the Bible. There. Then by God you are mad and you don't know what you do. You unhappy wretch. You start gibbering mad like your wretched mother before me. Jack, you promised you would never say this again. This time has come to face facts, Bella. If this progresses, you will not be much longer under my protection. Jack, I'm going to make a last appeal to you. I'm going to make a last appeal. I'm desperate, Jack. Can't you see that I'm desperate? If you can't, you must have a heart of stone. Go on. What do you wish to say? Jack, I may be going mad like my poor mother, but if I am mad, you have to treat me gently, Jack. Before God, I never lied to you knowingly. If I had taken down that picture, I have not known it. I have not known it. If I took it down on the other occasions, I did not know it either, Jack. If I steal your things, your rings, your keys, your pencils, your handkerchiefs, and you find them later in the bottom of my box, as indeed you do, then I do not know what I have done, that I have done it, Jack. If I commit these fantastic, meaningless mischiefs, so meaningless, why should I take a picture down from its place? If I do all these things, then I am certainly going off my head and must be treated kindly and gently so that I may get well. You must bear with me, Jack. Jack, bear with me, not storm and rage. God knows I'm trying, Jack. I'm trying. Oh, for God's sake, believe what I'm trying and be kind to me. Bella, my dear, do you have any idea where that picture is now. Why, yes, I suppose it's behind the cupboard. Will you please go and see? Yes. Yes. Mrs. Manningham moves to the upstage left cupboard and produces the picture from behind the cupboard. Yes, it's here. Then you did know where it was, Bella. You did know where it was. No, I only supposed it was. I only supposed it was there because it was found there before. It was found there twice before. Don't you see? I didn't know. I didn't. She moves toward him with the picture in her hand. There's no sense in walking about the room with a picture in your hand, Bella. Go, put it back in its proper place. And it's just this constant, no matter what she does, no matter what happens, this constant belittling and this constant fighting for it. Where it's like, no matter what has happened, she's in the wrong. She's in the wrong for doing this. She's in the wrong for doing that. She's in the wrong. And again, there's no position that he can take. He takes every single position applied to him to continually attack her. And if you think about it now, this is kind of the thing, is that again, this came from behind, from on the cliff. If you want to look at it, it's him promising to do something nice to her. And that is where he's couched, and that's where he's hiding everything. It's promise of going to the theater, and then he's attacking from there of, oh, you're crazy, you stole this. And he's making this huge fuss to everyone else. He's bringing everyone else involved, the servants and everything like that, to try and trick her and get her into thinking that, oh, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. You did indeed steal it. And she's like, no, but no one seemingly is believing her. Because both the servants didn't take it, and he's saying she didn't. She took it. But the thing is this leaves no one else. Because again, the only other person to suspect would be him, but he's the one who suggested, oh, you're going to blame me now. Again, this is the person who's going to take you to the theater, the person who's going to do this nice thing for you. This is the aspect where it's kind of really insidious. Oh, look at our tea. We were having tea with muffins. Now, Bella, I said a moment ago that we have to face facts, and that is what we've got to do. I'm not going to say anything at the moment, for my feelings are running too high. In fact, I'm going out immediately, and I suggest you go to your room and lie down for a little in the dark. No, not my room. For God's sake, don't send me to my room. There is no question of sending you to your room, Bella. You know perfectly well that you may do exactly as you please. Everything. I feel faint, Jack. I feel faint. Very well. He leads her to the settee. Now take things quietly and come and sit down. Where are you? Where are your salts? He fetches a bottle of smelling salts from the cupboard. Here they are. He helps her with the salts. Pause. Now, my dear, I'm going to leave you in peace. Reclining, closing her eyes. Have you got to go? Must you go? Must you always leave me after these dreadful scenes? No argument, please. I had to go in any case after tea. I'm merely leaving a little earlier. That's all. He puts on his hat and coat. Pause. Now, is there anything I can get for you? No, Jack, dear. Nothing. You go. Very good. He moves to the door and stops. Oh, by the way, I shall be passing the grocer, and I might as well pay that bill of his and get it done. Where is it, dear? My dear, I gave it to you, didn't I? Yes, dear, it's on the desk. Half rising. No, dear, don't move. I can find it. He moves to the bureau and rummages through it. I shall be glad to get this thing off my chest. Where is it, dear? Is it in one of the drawers? No, it's on top. I put it there this afternoon. All right, dear. We'll find it. Are you sure it's here, dear? There's nothing here except writing paper. Half rising suspiciously. Jack, I'm quite sure it is there. Will you look carefully? All right, dear. Don't worry. Lie down. It's of no importance. We'll find it. No, it's not here. It must be in one of the drawers. It's not in one of the drawers. I put it on top. She rushes to the bureau. You're not going to tell me this has gone, are you? My dear, calm yourself. Searching frantically. I laid it out here myself. Where is it? Opening and shutting the drawers. Where is it? Now you're going to say I've hidden this. My God, what new trick is this that you're playing on me? And again, this is kind of the funny thing about his dialogue thing is you think about it, it's all phrased in the stuff that she's doing to him. Her illness is not just an illness that's afflicting her. It's her illness that afflicts him. You know, he has to deal with her illness. It was there this afternoon. I put it there. This is a plot. This is a filthy plot. You're all against me. It's a plot. She screams hysterically, coming to her and shaking her violently. Will you control yourself? Listen to me, madam. If you utter another sound, I'll knock you down and take you to a room and lock you in darkness for a week. I have been too lenient with you, and I mean to alter my tactness. Oh, God, help me. Oh, God, help me. May God help you indeed. Now listen to me. I'm going to leave you until 10 o'clock. At that time, you will recover that paper and admit to me that you have lyingly and purposely concealed it. If not, you will take the consequences. You are going to see a doctor, madame. More than one doctor, and they shall decide what this means. Do you understand me? Oh, God, please be patient with me. If I'm mad, be patient with me. I have been patient with you and controlled myself long enough. It is now for you to control yourself or take the consequences. Think upon that, Bella. Jack, don't go, Jack. You're still going to take me to the theater, aren't you? What a question to ask me at such a time. No, madame. Emphatically, I am not. You play fair by me, and I'll play fair by you. If we are going to be enemies, you and I will find that it is I who shall get the best of it. Mr. Manningham exits. And this is kind of we're at page, 20? So this is about 20 minutes into the story. I'm trying to think about this. And so just think about what we've covered so far. We just had this absolute era of just crazy, crazy tension that's been building for it, building and building and building for it. And this is constant no matter what. And again, this is the thing I do love about plays is what do we have? We have two people in a room talking. No explosions, no beautiful countryside, no soundtrack, no nothing. Two people talking. And this is how you do that with this dialogue, this really pulling dialogue, which pulling you into it, this dynamic sequence of events. And it's just, gosh, this guy's so slimy, and it's really, really well done. It's this idea of gaslighting, where everything is no matter what. Everything is another form of attack. And it's like, oh, you think it's my fault? Well, actually, it's your fault. And, I know I said this, but we now are going to agree with you because it's convenient with me, and I'm going to attack you from there. And it's absolutely vicious. But it's a good one to read and listen to the dialogue because the dialogue is so tight. It's just 1, 2, 3. Everything connects to each other. Nothing is out of place, where everything leads to one, to one, to one. And then they constantly are changing subjects. They're moving from the play, they're moving from the muffins, they're moving to bringing the servants in, they're moving to, where's the picture? Okay, well, now we solved the picture. We're going to move back the picture. Just give me the receipt. The receipt's gone. It's just kind of everything is building and building and building on her. And the funny thing is now she can't bring in the servants to ask where the receipts are because it's going to be this whole parade of her shame where she's seemingly going nuts. And it's really, really well done. So this has kind of been the first 20 pages of Gaslight. It's really worth a read. From there because it's really fun. They did really good job with this, and I absolutely love reading play dialogue for this reason because it's able to just kind of really lead us through this step by step. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next.